Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are previewing Gameweek 12. So in tonight's show we'll be discussing each upcoming Gameweek fixture, looking at the potential key players, differentials and clean sheets. We'll also touch on captaincy, reveal our teams and our planned transfers. Before we get into the show properly, we just want to take a moment to say if you haven't subscribed to us on the platform you're currently watching or listening to us on, then you should do that right now. We're previewing every game week and recently rolled out an additional captaincy and differential video per week. So subscribe just so you get all of that good stuff. Let's get straight into our review from game week 11, Keek. And it was a big scoring week for a lot of people, including you.
Yeah, so a good 20-ish points above the average of 84 points total. No hits. Did one did I do a transfer? Yeah, no, I did a transfer. I did Wilson out to Adams, of course, which was awful, but never mind. So yeah, 1.1 million up to 737k. So the comeback is on right now. That's fourth green arrow in a row, I think now. So nice. Yeah, the sort of crux of this week was all my premiums kind of delivering, which was nice. So yeah, James with the 5 point with assist, obviously conceded, but still got the assist, which is nice to be on that side instead of the Chilwell side of the points instead. Tellers with the 5, which is decent, sort of covering the fact that I didn't go to a City defender. I went Tellers first. Bruno 6 off the bench did super. Looked really good. Such a shame he didn't start because it could have been maybe got to the 100 club if he started. Then Salah 14, Son 13, KDB captain this week. Went off the Fernandes captain train onto KDB for the obvious captain and obviously worked this week, 28 points. And then Calvert-Lewin with his goal with no bonus on 6. So, nice. It
was a nice high scoring week. And like you say, all your premiums delivering well for you this week. It was a good one. Similar sort of story for me really, but my points came from different premiums basically. Son, Kane and Vardy. Obviously Kane and Vardy you don't have. Souček obviously chipped in with some points. I didn't have KDB or Salah for those captaincy decisions, so I went with Bruno and felt somewhat fortunate, but then somewhat like what could have been because Rashford's missed a couple of chances, or a chance could have been a all right. My transfer was a bit of a fail, really, because I was banking on Jota playing in that Wolves game, having been sort of rested quite a bit in the Champions League. Took Grealish out, and I thought, let's go for this one. But yeah, Jota actually ended up scoring less than Reed did, who would have just played automatically rather than Grealish. So bit of a bummer about that one, but not the end of the world. And keep Jota for this game week against Fulham, and then have a look at bringing Grealish back in. So yeah, 74 points, green arrow, 798, and I kind of feel like now we're in December with the games coming thick and fast. This is a good time to hopefully make some quick decisions and get ahead of again.
Yeah, and I've overtaken you in rank and in our leagues and stuff, and then I didn't see that coming. That's for sure. At least like 4 odd weeks back when I was 2.2 million, and you were around the 600k-ish, weren't you? So never saw that coming. But yeah, just captains, big difference. I've hit captains the last few weeks, and that's helped a lot.
I think we were talking about the weekend. You must have got I think 45 points in the time I've got about 13. I think some captaincy the last 3 weeks. So yeah, it's not been too good for me. So I need to do a bit better. Someone top of our mini league, we've got to shout out Retai Loma and Ola Havde, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. He's top of the FPL Cougars mini league, and he's also world number 1 at the moment, and he has been for I think 2 weeks now.
Assume it's a he. Ola could be a woman, I guess.
True. Yeah. But she is smashing it at the moment. Just fair play. 86 points this week, which is huge again, and I think he leads second place overall by about 30 points, which is amazing. And yeah, if you're watching, hello, and glad you're in our mini league. Bring the numbers a bit up. Right, who was the manager of the week in the mini league this week?
Yeah, it's Kabbalah United from John Bielsa. I'm not sure if that's a real last name. Sounds a bit coincidental, but anyway, 99 points, which is obviously really big. Overall rank of 29k, up from 128k. But he played his first wild card. And obviously well played this week. James 5, Salah 14, Son 13, all the sort of premiums returning with KDB captain as well. And then he had that Souček in there with the 8 points. Bamford with the 8, which I obviously should have gone for. And Kane 12, DCL, and then his wildcard's kind of interesting because he's probably got a few issues going forward. Justin's probably about to lose his place. Kilman maybe lost his place, and then Dunn is in there as well as the sort of non-playing, so he might have a few issues going forward. But for now, he's looking good.
Yeah, a couple of players you've got naming as a bit worried. Justin and Kilman.
Yep.
Scary stuff. All right, let's get on to the game week preview. It starts this weekend. Leeds hosting West Ham, and Leeds' fixtures are turning. It could be a prime time if you've not owned Bamford already, not owned Dallas, Eiling this season, or even differential Rafinha maybe. Do you want to talk a little bit about who looks good for Leeds going into this nice looking run?
I mean, Bamford obviously scores, had a few other chances last week. Again, he scored against Chelsea, whereas I chose Adams, who didn't even, a bit of a spoiler for later, but didn't even manage to get a shot against Brighton. So,
wow.
Yeah, a shocking decision for me there. But I suppose I chose Adams just for the Brighton and Sheffield United fixtures because those two looked really good compared to Chelsea and West Ham. So on the face of it, I chose fixtures rather than form, I suppose. But then Adams had a bit of form as well. But anyway, Bamford, 36% own now. Probably going to start going up because people are going to start looking to sell maybe Calvert-Lewin and stuff like that to get Salah back in for people who don't have Salah. So Bamford is probably going to start going up quite even more than he already is, I suppose. He's fourth highest scoring striker in the game, and that's from obviously a newly promoted side, which is obviously quite impressive. He's only actually 4 points behind Vardy, and Bamford is obviously doing these points without penalties. Vardy's had 4, maybe 5 penalties so far. 7, 2, 2 and 8 in the last 4 weeks. He's had 2 hauls in the season of 14 and 17. And then this fixture looks pretty damn good because I think it's going to be quite open, quite attacking. Both teams can defend, but then both teams prefer to attack, and they're both going to try and win the game. An XG of 2.57, which is fifth for all strikers. An XA of 0.5. Shots is 16, which is first of all strikers. 5 big chances, which is joint second. 2 key passes, 0 big chances created. So stats are good for goal threat, not so much so on the assist sort of potential side, which is something we definitely look for when we're looking for sort of informed strikers. But obviously if you can get goals, then great. West Ham's defensive side has sort of slid down the rankings of XGC down to about 7.09 now. And they conceded 53 shots, which is about mid-table. But Leeds have taken 65, which is the second highest in the same amount of time. So it looks like Bamford should get a goal at least here or some sort of return in this game. So I'm a bit annoyed I didn't bring him in. But owners should be looking for some returns here for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's surprised to me really that he's still not sort of shot up from 6-1. Like he obviously had that initial burst at the start of the season. And his numbers have been great. I suppose perhaps because he hasn't had returns. People aren't getting on him, but for 6 million, he looks like a good sort of different option to Vardy and Kane, both of which I've got in my team. And at the moment, I've sort of front-loaded my team with premiums. And when you see that there's low-priced strikers putting up the sort of numbers that low-priced midfielders aren't doing, it sort of makes sense to have it that way around. Have the premium midfielders who are delivering and the sort of mid to low price strikers. So I'm looking at Bamford and thinking this could be a good time to get him in, but I'm sure there will be a lot of people doing it, but I don't know if I can squeeze him in this week without taking a 4-point hit really.
Who would you get rid of?
I've been thinking about that for a while really, because at some point I'm going to want to get KDB and I'm going to want to have Salah or Fernandes, one of those or 3. I think I'd probably get rid of Vardy, just because he's playing in a worse team than Spurs, and the 0.7 difference isn't a lot. I mean, Kane's numbers aren't fantastic. Last 4 they've been poor, but I'd probably get rid of Vardy. Anyway, on to West Ham. We'll talk more about those 2 a bit later. Shots in the box, 41 for them in the last 4. That's the 4th highest, and Leeds just above them. So I think it could be high-scoring game, especially if there's an early goal. On the player front, Bowen is the one who's had most attacking threat for them in the last 4. He's had 15 shots, 10 in the box, and most of any West Ham player. He's also had 1 big chance and an XG of 0.9. He's also been quite creative as well, 3 big chances created and 8 key passes. We talked about him on the Cougar Cubs video a couple of weeks back, and he returned. He had a bit of a quieter game at the weekend against United, but still only owned by 2.5%, 6.3 million. I suppose he's not quite the talisman, but he's sort of filling in at the moment with Antonio sort of in and out of the team. So looking at his numbers, I was just thinking, okay, he looks like the most attacking player. He's good, but Souček has bested him on big chances. Every time I think about selling him, he gets something. 2 goals in 4 game weeks now. I mean, he's still not providing like the best value for a 4 or sort of a player under 5 to 5.5 million, but yeah, he's improved in the last 4 game weeks for sure compared to before. He's getting a bit further forward, obviously a tap in, but that's his bread and butter from a corner or a free kick.
Yep.
Do you think I should keep hold of him for a bit longer? Souček?
Why not? The fixtures are fine. Yeah, I see no reason to sell him if you've got him. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think like we said before, all the way till January, the only top 4 side they play is Chelsea. So yeah, even though he's not a very sexy pick, he's definitely allowing for some other or more premiums in the team, really.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next game of the game week. Wolves are hosting Villa, who will be back after a week off. Do you think they're going to come into this one a bit rusty, or do you think they'll feel a bit fresher having had that week off?
Impossible to tell, I suppose. But they've obviously been training, unlike Newcastle have. So
true.
Yeah, because they haven't had to shut down, have they? So yeah, I imagine they would have been rested and sort of just ready for this game completely.
Yeah.
Would have sort of read up about Wolves and what they're doing at the moment, and seeing if they're playing a back four and all that sort of thing. And yeah, I'm sure they'll be very ready. So. Yeah, I'm just sort of glad I have Watkins. I don't think Wolves keep a clean sheet. So, yeah.
What do you reckon's happened to their defence? I mean, they obviously dropped Kilman, and he looked like he was going to be the budget hero, and they've conceded... I mean, admittedly, it was 2 tough, trickier games, but Cody was a bit at fault, wasn't he? I wonder if their system's not helping them at the minute.
Yeah, so in the 3 games that they've played as a back four, they've conceded 6 goals, and they've had no clean sheets in the last 4 weeks. But then they had 3 clean sheets in the previous 4 weeks when they were playing a back 3. So,
okay,
you know that. Fixtures sort of different, and there was a sort of fixture swing in between with the clean sheets going. But there is something to be had from that. The formation isn't quite possibly working and not suiting Cody and Bolly, and Kilman did absolutely nothing wrong to lose his place. Yeah. So why they've gone to a back 4, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, because it wasn't working with Jimenez. They were trying to get more people up the field or something, or they weren't scoring enough goals. Maybe it was that. But I don't know. I thought wingbacks are good for going upfield, so I don't know. Let's just see. But I'm going to give Kilman a few more, and hopefully they go back to the back 3, because it seems like it should be the right time for them to do that.
I take it. So I mean, you've got him second bench at the moment. You don't fancy him over Tellez or Justin this game week?
It's hard, isn't it?
You've got a lot of good defensive options this game week. Ayling and Kilman both on the bench instead of Tellez and Justin.
It's just James I've got a back for a clean sheet, I think, and then possibly attacking returns, because you never really know with James. Tellez, attacking potential. I don't know. I'm probably going to sell Tellez, I think, anyway. So... then Justin has obviously been awful, but he's got Brighton at home. You think they're probably the best chance of a clean sheet of Ayling and Kilman. So, I could start any of them really, but Ayling I don't think gets a clean sheet against West Ham.
Okay,
Kilman probably not either. So
you're hedging your bets on the other ones. Okay, that was interesting though. But what would you recommend though to people with Kilman? Do you think just hold for now and see what happens?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're forced to play him, then you probably don't have a good back 4. You should probably think about getting someone better in. But for now, I think you keep him and just see if they go back to a back 3, and hopefully they do, and then he can start a few weeks. Yeah, no,
fair enough. I think Villa are coming into this one, like you say, you've got Watkins still, and I think they're coming into this one off before the break, off the back of good form. So between game weeks 8 and 10, they were second highest for big chance of all the teams, and second highest number of shots in the box as well. So they were looking quite strong offensively. Defensively, they weren't looking as great. So in the last 4 games before their week off, they conceded a league high 8 goals. But that might not be a problem against Wolves, because they've looked a little bit toothless, especially with Jimenez out. Grealish, I was one of the few people to sell, it seems, because his ownership only dropped from I think 40 to about 38.4%. So barely went down at all, and I kind of want him back for Burnley, because after Wolves, Burnley, West Brom, Crystal Palace, some juicy looking fixtures, and scores of 8-3, 6 and 10 last 4 away games. So I think I'm going to go without for this Wolves game and hope that Nuno keeps it tight. But after that, I sort of think I need Grealish back straight away.
Yeah, and just quickly on the Wolves side, Podence played as a false 9, covering Jimenez, maybe. I don't know. That Silva guy doesn't seem to be trusted quite yet, but I think they do need a striker. So I don't know if Podence is definitely the way forward. One of them, Traore and Neto, seems like they might need to be dropped out at some point. So, but yeah, then just on Fabio Silva, 5.2 million, 0.6%. I think they need a striker. They look like they lacked that vocal point against Liverpool. So yeah, proper differential. I think he's sort of possibly an alternative to Brewster as that really cheap sort of playing guy who's at least going to come on and get minutes each week, get the 1 point, and he should start a few games as well. So if you want to play that 3 formation with a cheapie, I think he could be worth a look. I'm not saying definitely, like his stats are literally zeros right now because he has barely played any minutes, but yeah, as soon as he gets a run of starts, which looks like could happen, then I think he could be a decent differential to Brewster. Obviously, slightly more expensive, but I've been looking at him as someone to like. Maybe I go down from an Adams already to a Fabio Silva and then get Tellez up to Trent or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm annoyingly 0.1 short, so yeah, that's really annoying. Even I can't even go from Watkins to him, so it's just that's super annoying. But
I think you should hold Watkins though.
No, I will do. But yeah, it's just looking at Adams or because I just really want Trent now. But
do you? Okay.
Yeah. So Fabio Silva, he could just be an enabler for some teams.
Yeah, no, I think he's not a bad shout at all. We'll talk more about Trent as well in a minute because Liverpool are putting these back-to-back clean sheets now. Trent came on, nearly got that assist again. I imagine he'll start against Fulham. That looks like it could be a clean sheet. Anyway, more on that a bit later. Let's talk about a game which we'll probably pick over quite quickly because we're not sure if it's even going ahead yet. This is the Newcastle-West Brom game. The news wasn't it, that more Newcastle players have tested positive and it seemed like it was edging towards being postponed again. But there's been nothing...
The news earlier, actually, you were about to say there's been no news, but there has been news that they have been able to train today, apparently.
Okay.
It's opened up. But we still don't know. There was something like 10, 12 odd people with positive tests. So we still don't know. They've said no idea who that is. That could be any of the starters or it could be any of the fringe players. So we generally have no idea. And apparently they might be sort of appealing to the Premier League to maybe postpone it again because a lot of their first teamers are out. So... Yeah, at this point, we still don't know. Wilson somehow rose a couple of days as well, which I think is very odd. But so I really don't have much to say. I think Wilson is obviously a good pick in this fixture if they play. But other than that, it's all up in the air. Yeah,
definitely. And on the West Brom thing, I suppose the only thing to mention is how much they fell apart going down to 10 men. I mean, the fact that Palace could score 5 against them just absolutely shocked me when I saw the result of that one. So... Yeah, I think you mentioned Gallagher, didn't you? Week before last, another quite tidy goal. And it was funny, we praised Johnson because he had not produced less than 3 all season points wise, and then typically at home game against Palace you'd expect some good points. He's got a 0, so a bit unfortunate for him.
Lots of people sold Martinez to get him in.
Oh, yeah,
and for a 0, and some did it for hits and stuff. It's just
crazy.
Ouch.
Their fixtures aren't too hot after this either as well. Man City, Aston Villa, and Liverpool in the next 3. So nothing too exciting about West Brom. All right, big one. It's the Manchester Derby happening on I think it's 5:30, isn't it, on Saturday? Now that I'm actually looking to take out, so my transfer this week, which I'm pretty set on. I'm going to get rid of Bruno and I'm going to bring in Salah for the captaincy. And it's a tricky one because Bruno has been unbelievably consistent for his price. But I just can't look past Salah at the moment. And especially that juicy game.
Should I talk to you about
just
Bruno?
Tell me about him. Because he's been smashing it.
So obviously 41% owned now. I'm sure that's probably going to continue to go up, but maybe not this week. But 10.9 million. What a player. Came on in that half-time. Most chances created by one player in a game of 8, and that was at half-time in so far this season, so that's crazy. Not blank since week 7, obviously. 17, 11, 10, and 6 in the last 4 weeks. And then he's not blanked away from home all season. Obviously, this one's at home. 12, 11, 17, 10, and 6 away from home all this season. And then in the last 4 weeks, he's the highest scoring player by far of 44 points compared to 29, which is the Sun. XG 2.66 first, XA of 3.15. Have we ever seen anyone higher than 3.15 in XA?
That's mad.
I don't think De Bruyne ever got that high.
No.
So yes, shot 16, which is second. Big chances created 6 was first overall. Big chances himself first. Key passes of 16 first. 4 goals, 3 assists last 4 weeks. So probably the best player in FPL, I'd say. Probably better than De Bruyne right now. But yeah, his home form is more awkward, so that is possibly a reason why selling him might not be the worst shout for you this week. He's had 2, 6, 3, 2 and 11 at home. So yeah, I mean, that sort of makes sense. Obviously, City's going to be tough, but I can kind of see it maybe being kind of open. These two teams can't... Well, I guess they can defend, but I think they're going to try and attack, obviously. And Man United on the counter with Bruno seems quite good, like it was in the second half against West Ham last week. So, on your head be it, possibly. I think he obviously did well, I think, against City last year, where he got that assist for Martial with that cheeky, quickly taken free kick. So he has got... history in this fixture still doing well. So
yeah, I mean, I'd like to keep him, and typically I probably will have to transfer him back in at some point. But the way I've got the premiums at the moment, it seems so daft to take out Kane or Vardy for a 4-point hit before either of these two fixtures, Crystal Palace and Brighton.
Yeah.
And again, it seems silly to get rid of Jota as part of that hit, because I wouldn't get rid of Son or Souček. And yeah, can you imagine taking a 4-point hit on Kane and Jota for something like Bamford and Salah? Because I think I can't see there be much difference in it. So
I've seen that all over Twitter this week, as in just like that sounds like it's a good idea to captain Salah, and Bamford is doing well, but at the same time you're taking out 2 players who can really hurt you.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
I mean, I was nearly close to taking out Kane or Vardy last week as my move, and thank God I didn't do it, because between them they were like 20-odd point scorers, and they're, like we say, I think FPL is wonderful at the moment because there is so many options, so many premiums, and you can't have them all. So it's finding that balance is just crucial. Yeah, really interesting. On the Man City front, you obviously captained Kevin and reaped the rewards of that, but still only owned by 23%. Like I said, I think that shows how much. Yeah, it is nice how much variation there is. Last season's highest scorer only owned by less than a quarter of the game. He's crept up points wise behind Bruno in the last 4. That's probably to do with the fixtures, but he's had an expected points in that time of 34. Bruno does lead him with 35.2, and he's done that in fewer minutes as well. Obviously only played a half against West Ham. 12 shots in the box in the last 4 is unusually high for Kevin. You know what he's like, he's typically shooting from outside, and that's the 3rd best of all players, only bettered by Bamford and amazingly McBurney. So it shows that Kevin's getting in better positions. So it could be more. I also shout out to Diaz, because I brought him in 2 game weeks ago, 12 points in that time, which is probably as much as you'd expect. But yeah, his expected points rating has been crazy high. So 25.7 in the last 4 matches, which is better than Mahrez at 23. He's had 2 big chances, which is the same as Mahrez, and only 1 fewer than KDB. And maybe more goals will come. He seems to be getting on the end of their set plays, and maybe it's only a matter of time. And I think that I'm pleased that he started both league games, because it makes me think that he is Pep's sort of favourite now to start at the centre back.
Yeah, no Laporte last few. Stone's been playing with him, but they've got the clean sheet still. So yeah.
No, I think he's a good pick.
Score prediction, this one probably one of the biggest games this season. So.
I think City are going to win it. So they've not lost in 3 of the last 4. They did lose last season 2-0, but yeah, I kind of fancy City in this one, which I hate to say. I think if City are clinical, they'll put on a good show. And no, so tough to call. I'll say 2-1 City. I do think it'll be open.
All right, so no clean sheets.
No clean sheets. No.
Yeah, so I obviously still have Tellez, got the assist last week, which is nice. But yeah, his points compared to what I should have just gone for Diaz like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I think Diaz has got, is it 2 clean sheets or 3 in that time? Possibly 3. So yeah, I've got 6, 1, and 5 from Tellez, which isn't as
not bad.
Not too bad, but time to sell Tellez, I think, because the fixtures afterwards. I mean, Sheffield United, Leeds. I can see them scoring. I see like Sheffield United probably scoring as well. So, and then Leicester and Wolves. So they don't seem like there's many clean sheets there, and Shaw's back now as well. And there's always like, we know Ollie likes Shaw, so Tellers is clearly Shaw's better, but we know Ollie likes Shaw, so is Tellers going to get dropped? Quite possibly. So yeah, I'm possibly looking at Spurs defense, and we'll talk about them later. I would like the City defense, but it seems like silly to change Tellers to a City defense this week. But there's options.
Yeah, no, definitely. What about Pogba's news the other night? Like saying, or from the agent saying, Paul's contract in Manchester, everyone knows it's done. I mean, on the eve of their biggest game of the season against Leipzig tonight.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
God, everyone's just sick of it now. He just needs to shut his mouth, and then if he's going to go, he's going to go. He just doesn't need to say anything really.
No.
But yeah, so Pogba 7.7 million, 1.1% owned, which is kind of crazy, I suppose. Forgotten man, but yeah, 10 point versus West Ham, all through bonus. Yeah, he had most touches of 114, most passes completed, most recoveries, most shots on target. Those aren't exactly FPL point scorers, but it helped for the bonus. But so I'm not saying he's a fantasy asset, but if he can start to nail down a place, then at 7.7 million, he could be worth considering at least.
Yeah, no, it's an unusual one. I mean, maybe this will change his motivation for Premier League, and maybe he'll come out and say he wants to stay. But yeah, if he's distracted and thinking about moving elsewhere, it makes him a strange asset, really. And it's funny how he's gone through spells in the United career. Like, he has been essential, and he's just done everything. And then, really, for months now, he's been quite woeful from an FPL perspective. So, yeah, strange player. All right, Everton, Chelsea is Saturday night. Juiciness. Chelsea come here on the back of a clean sheet in their last 3 away games, and they're undefeated now in the last 9 matches. XG of 9.49 in the last 4 is the top of all teams, as is their 47 shots in the box. So pretty sure they come here and score. Do you think they're going to get a result as well?
I mean, so the defence for Everton is pretty shocking, right? So the XGC of 7.9, which is 17th at the moment with 7 conceded. And they've only had 1 clean sheet all season, which is the opening day versus the Spurs of all teams. Who obviously have looked good attacking-wise. 18 goals conceded, which is the 4th worst. They've only Sheffield United, Leeds and Fulham have conceded more, and they've conceded more than West Brom and Burnley, which on the face of it sounds absolutely terrible. So they're obviously missing Dino, Coleman, and J-Rod's form has obviously nosedived. The highest scoring defender is 34 points from Dino, which doesn't sound too bad. But then in comparison, Seiss, who hasn't played since week 7, has got 38 points, 4 more points than him. So, and then in comparison to that again, Pickford, who's played every 90 minutes bar 1 game, has got 25 points. So, awful, honestly.
That's not good, is it, at all?
So Chelsea obviously, you're going to expect goals here. And can Everton score against Chelsea? I mean, DCL still looking good. His numbers are still good. I mean, do we expect him to score? Like, what do you think?
Chelsea have been good defensively, but don't know if it's enough to keep him out because he's just been relentless. I think the fact that it's on a Saturday night makes me just think it's going to be a bit of, I don't know why, but it just makes me think motivation for Everton. I think they'll score 1 and break the clean sheet, and maybe he'll be involved in it, but I don't expect them to score more than that. I think Chelsea keep it quite tight.
So Calvert-Lewin's got 80% goal involvement. So
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, if he's obviously only blanked twice all this season, one of those weeks you captained him. So if they're going to score, he's going to be involved. 11 shots, 5 big chances still in the last few weeks. 3 key passes. Then he managed XG of 1.44 against Burnley, which is good. 4 shots and 3 big chances versus Burnley. So he's still looking good himself, even though the rest of the team aren't looking on fire, I suppose. So I think you still need to back him until he stops scoring, like actually for a few weeks. Then you maybe still need to back. But at the same time, he could be a cash cow to get Bamford and then to get Salah and some people like that. So Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal, Sheffield United, Man City next 5. None of those look like good fixtures on paper, but it's the only reason we're keeping him is because of how good he is on form. Yeah, not compared to the rest of the team.
I like his goal involvement too. Like, it's really strong. If he's getting 80% or he's involved 80% of the time, when you're having a look, he's probably going to be there. And he's just a penalty box poacher this season, and all of his goals are just him being in the right place at the right time. Can't see them changing how they play. So yeah, until he goes a couple games blanking, I think he's not going anywhere from my team.
Could Silva and Zuma do a job in? And Zuma obviously used to play with him at Everton.
Yeah,
so.
I think so. I mean, Silva obviously top class centre back, and like we say, Chelsea's defence has been excellent. Last 3 away matches, clean sheets, and clean sheets in tough games against Spurs as well last weekend. So I don't see why they can't keep a clean sheet here. I do think it'd be tight, but maybe 1 goal maximum for Everton. So
So what's your plans with Calvert-Lewin? Are you keeping him moving forward?
I've got nothing really no real reason to take him out. I mean, if he starts blanking, then maybe. But at the moment, he's got such a high ownership, and he's still quite affordable, and he's ticking along nicely. I don't really see why I'd take him out. So no, happy to keep him.
Okay.
On the Chelsea side of things, I just got to shout out Mason Mount. Really, 6.8 million, 4.7%. He started all but 2 games this season.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah. He started and played 90 minutes in the last 5, and he's got okay scores. He's 6'2", 6'2", and 8. So probably a bit pricey for someone who's not a talisman in a lesser team, but pretty good for the price. So all the sexy mids at Chelsea, admittedly, either of these have been injured or not played, but Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Havertz, Ziyech all started the season as sort of juicy picks, and he is top of all of them, and only 12 points fewer than Werner, who of course is like 9.5 million. So yeah, he's having another sort of decent season, I'd say, and I think it sort of leads into my point about Werner, really, because he's just not very clinical. So at the weekend, he had an expected points of 10.4. He had an XG of 1.3 of outscoring, just notched 1 assist. He could have been sitting on a 16-pointer. He had 2 really good chances, obviously got the assist at the end. Last 4 game weeks, he's had the second highest expected points of all strikers, but he's way down on actual points. Do you think it's just going to take like a little bit longer for him to start filing, or do you think just naturally he's just not that clinical?
Yeah, possibly that. I don't know. It just seems like I expect him to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. And he actually prevented a goal last week, didn't he?
Incredible.
So I don't know. If you've got him, I think you still keep him because their fixtures are decent.
Yeah.
So.
He could have had some hauls like this past weekend and really a couple of weeks ago. So he's let himself down. Just finally on James, you must feel quite relieved now that he looks like he's part of the furniture in that back line. 5 starts, 5 90 minutes. He and Chilwell, just if they're not getting a clean sheet, they're usually getting some sort of attacking returns. It looks like he's finally displaced. I
think I kind of just lucked into it. I was just like, I'm going to keep him for 1 more week just in case. And then he just started playing all the time. So I was just like, okay, I'll just keep him, and he just seems to be the one now. So
he's worked it,
and he's done well. So
no, fair enough. Right, Sunday starts with Southampton hosting Sheffield United. I mean, Sheffield United I can skip over quite quickly by just saying they moved off the bottom of the table at least for expected goals conceded in the last 4. XGC now of 7.2. Only the 6th worst, but I think it's going to be a tough game for this one. Southampton have scored at least 2 goals in the last 6 home matches. And it's really, like I said earlier, only really McBurney it's putting up any numbers worth looking at. He's the 2nd highest shots in the box of all players in the last 4 games. Finally got his reward with that headed goal. But yeah, who's seriously going to back a 5.6 million price Sheffield United forward to sort of play? And he's way too much money to put on a bench. So yeah, nothing really from me on Sheffield United at the minute. What about Saints? Because Danny Ings, he's back.
Yeah, got to assume he's back full time, I would assume. Good fixtures next 5 weeks of Sheffield United, Arsenal. Arsenal I think is still a good fixture for them. Man City at home is obviously not great, but then Fulham and then West Ham after that. So I think the 4 other than City look good for attacking wise. He obviously... He managed 200% more shots than Adams did in 45 minutes less last week with 2. An XG of 0.9, XA of 0.49, and 1 big chance, 1 key pass, and 1 big chance created. So good for 45 minutes work from him, and he's come back firing. And obviously his penalty wasn't a penalty; it was outside the box. So I don't know what VAR's doing there, but 8 points, 3 bonus. Ings is back. Simple as.
It's a shame his price hasn't gone down, isn't it?
Yeah, if he was cheaper, I'd certainly be looking at him. And I obviously am looking at him, but he's definitely a differential at 5.9% now. So just on Adams, I obviously chose him, as I said earlier, over Bamford. Bamford scored against Chelsea, and yeah, Adams didn't even get a shot, as I said earlier, against Brighton. So 0 shots, 0.0 xg, 0.03 xa, 0 big chances, 1 key pass, and 0 big chances created. It's an absolute stinker from Adams, and just what I didn't need coming into a Monday fixture, when I just think that Adams away to Brighton seems like, yeah, great. I'm looking for some points here, and oh god. So Ward-Prowse, 6.2 million, 13.3%. Kind of just keeps finding a way to return somehow. 3 to 11 and 5 in the last 4 weeks, but 2 weeks prior to that, he had 11 and 17 point hauls as well. His XG and XA are pretty low, but that's showcasing his returns are coming from low chance free kicks and corners. But that's someone with free kicks and corners can always return points in FPL. His constant output is probably not sustainable, but with someone with such quality on those free kicks and corners, then yeah, he looks like he could be a pick. 6.2 million, I still think is maybe slightly too expensive, because he's not going to get open play goals. But anyone that's got him in at the moment is obviously not thinking that. So
yeah, they'd be well happy with him.
Yeah, but then he's not going to have penalties because Ings is back now. So as we've seen in the 45 minutes that he came on, so yeah, there's that bow has gone from him. But yeah, he's a decent pick, but not for me for the time being, I don't think. But,
no, like we said last week, for me as well, like it's difficult to keep relying on these set pieces. I mean, last night was an amazing header to get him that assist, and he has been scoring free kicks and setting up some amazing goals, but it's going to be really hard to maintain that. But I do like him as a player. I think he's tidy, but maybe not quite for FPL. I really want to get Ings, man. I mean, 8.3 million, 5%. I'm just trying to look at my team and think that, because Southampton's fixtures are okay after that Man City game. They got Fulham, West Ham, and even this Sheffield United game now isn't bad. And I suppose even that Arsenal away game is alright, because Arsenal have been suffering at the moment. So maybe only one bad fixture in the next 5 for them. And
I wish one of those my premium mids wasn't on form and I could sell them, but because I just can't afford him otherwise.
Yeah, so, that's another player to add to the mix of players. Like, it would be nice to have, and that's only a good thing. All right.
I've got more stats on him later, because I'm going to maybe talk about him in the differential video.
Okay, cool. All right, Palace against Spurs on I think another one on Sunday, and Palace obviously rip-roar past West Brom. Zaha was involved. It's no surprise that he came back into the team and they started to put the ball in the back of the net. We've not really considered him so far this season. Do you think it is mainly because you and I, other people have, because he plays for Palace and you can't rely on him for attacking returns every week?
Yeah, probably. And he's always been very hit or miss, hasn't he? Zaha? He gets a few hauls and then he just disappears. But he's actually the fourth highest scoring mid in the game, with 72 points, which surprised me when I was looking at that, and surprised his ownership is still 15%, or over 15%, as he obviously had the COVID. And I thought many people would have got rid of him, but still doing points and still scoring. Last 5 games, not including COVID, he's had 9, 13, 1, 5, and 18. So those are nearly Bruno levels of point scoring. Decent. And then versus West Brom, an XG of 0.72, XA of 0.2, 6 shots, 1 big chance, 0 key passes, 0 big chances created. But still, he's looks like he's more of a defined goal threat now than a sort of assist. I suppose. And but he worked well with Benteke and looks pretty hungry post COVID. So fixtures of next 5 are pretty poor. I wouldn't put him past him scoring. That is what has put me off. Zaha is the only thing that's put me off getting like a Spurs defender for Tellers.
Oh really?
But then again, like
Spurs,
because it's Palace at home. I think that
Spurs have just dealt with City, they've just dealt with Arsenal, they've just dealt with Chelsea,
but exactly,
clean sheets against all of them.
That's the time where they can see where they let the foot off the gas at the back, and they can see to a Zaha, I don't know, wonder goal or something. It just seems nailed on to happen.
Well, maybe it does. And looking at Zaha's stats, this could be if he keeps up this rate, it could be his best ever season. So his best ever attacking returns was 21, so that was 2 seasons ago. He's already got 10 attacking returns, and we're obviously just about a quarter of the way through the season. So if he continues this, he is going to be, well, 1, great value for money this season, and 2, a great FPL asset. So at 7.3 million, sorry, 7.4 now, if he can keep that sort of level of consistency up, he'll do well. So he's definitely one to watch for me a little bit closer than I was. And we said he had some good fixtures about 5-6 game weeks ago. And I think he's returned in his 3 of his last 4 or 4 of his last 5 now. So yeah, he has been consistent.
Well, the fixture swing is over for them. It's got bad now.
Yeah, it has got bad. Maybe I think it swings back in about 6 game weeks, maybe just something like that. Anyway, just briefly on Spurs then. So it's still a bit of a mixed bag of fixtures. Obviously, Crystal Palace and Liverpool away in the next 2. Leicester, Wolves and Fulham. I'd say maybe there's only 1 or 2 really good fixtures in there. Maybe that Leicester game and Fulham at home. They have kept 3 clean sheets back to back against City, Chelsea and Arsenal, and not really, like we talked about last week, not many people talking about their defence. 9 goals conceded all season, by far away the best record. I'm pretty confident they won't concede 1 against Palace. 5 clean sheets in 6, and Eric Dyer's still just 5 million. Yeah, are you a bit surprised we haven't seen more love or people shouting about Spurs defenders? I mean, you know what Jose's like.
I don't know. I think they've just gone under the radar somehow. Because everyone thinks Dyer's crap, which I do think he's crap too. But they're keeping clean sheets. So I don't think Reguilon's a good defender either, but he's keeping clean sheets. So, I mean, if I was going to go for Dyer, I would bench him versus Liverpool because he's 5 million, and that's perfectly easy because I've got an Eiling or a Kilman or someone like that who can come in. So I think he's playable against Palace, he's playable against Leicester, Wolves, and Fulham. So maybe Dyer is the one. I'm talking myself into it possibly. I don't
have anything against their defenders. It's crazy. So their highest own percent of defender is Doherty, 6.3%. He's not even played the last 3 games. And the fact that, I mean, you know what Mourinho did at United in their season where he finished second? He had such a record number of clean sheets. I'll see if I can find it now, because De Gea played pretty much every season in that one, and he racked up loads. Let's have a quick look, see if I can recall it. I think 18 clean sheets they had in that season. So I don't know how many that they've matched already, but 18.
Was that right?
Yeah, 18 clean sheets. And if Spurs can do anywhere near that, and Dyer 5 million would be pretty good. De Gea was priced at 5.5 million that season, remember, because I had him all of the season. So, yeah, Jose Mourinho's second season defensive block is well and truly in full effect at the moment.
Are they going to let the sort of shackles go? Because obviously they were probably playing they're close to playing like a 6 at the back with what's it called, Højbjerg and sort of Sissoko just jumping back in out of possession against these bigger teams, but against Palace, that probably won't happen.
No.
So is that sort of solidness gonna sort of go out the door? Who knows?
I don't know. Well, they've had 5 out of 11 clean sheets so far this season. Like I say, 3 against City, Chelsea and Arsenal, and 2 against the other 2 against Burnley and West Brom. So there's a mix of good teams and bad teams there, quite literally. So yeah, I mean, if I was looking to make a defender transfer, Dyer would be right top of my list at the minute as well. I think he's good.
He takes a couple free kicks as well sometimes. Yeah.
Just on Spurs' attack, we know quite a lot about them really. Kane and Son, what else there is to say? So if you add up all their games played this season, so 22 obviously, 11 each, they've only 5 blanks between them, 3 for Son, 2 for Kane. Their ownership's crazy high still, 58 and 37% respectively. Look good options as captaincy again this week, but I think it might be a bit difficult to captain either of them over Salah and maybe even KDB, but they'll be sort of in 3rd and 4th place, I'm sure, for many.
I was thinking about selling Son before he went and scored against Arsenal to get Tellers and Son out for like a Grealish and a Trent or someone like that, and can't do it now, can I? I mean, even that Liverpool and Leicester game, they look good, sort of attacking and counter-wise for Son. So yeah, I think I just need to keep him.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the first player to 100 points so far this season, and obviously Mourinho's teams are going to hit the majority of big teams on a counter-attack, so you can probably expect some points in the tougher games, and they've been putting them to the sword in the easier games as well, notably that Southampton game, Man United, West Ham, Burnley. Son's got some big double-digit hauls already this season. So yeah, at 9.5 million, when you compare him to Salah at 12.3 and maybe even Bruno at 10.9, he's offering some good value. It's just if you've got the cojones to put the armband on him. All right, should we move on, or do you want to chit-chat any more about that one?
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. All right, Fulham are hosting Liverpool in the game, which I'm obviously going to bring Salah in for. Those 7 goals conceded against Fulham, man, seemed like ages ago. 3 clean sheets in 3 for Liverpool. You were talking just a little bit earlier about wanting to bring Trent back in. Is that because of the fixtures, I take it, and a little bit of form they've got now?
Yeah, I mean, clean sheets are as soon as everyone, actually, the people that everyone owns go. But yeah, Trent, I mean, we know he's great. Maybe that time off has helped him. He looked good when he came on, so differential it's like 13%
yeah.
Is it? Something like that. So yeah, I always like Trent over Robbo for some reason. Just maybe the free kick potential. So yeah, I would love to get him, but it's just how to afford him at this point.
Do you think Liverpool come here and batter Fulham, or do you think it'd be a bit of a closer game?
Well, I mean, the Fulham only conceded 2 to City, right? But that sort of flattered
1 to
them.
Leicester.
Yeah, and then so I think the scoreline against City flattered them, and then Liverpool could be clinical and take all their chances, even though players like Salah aren't really exactly clinical. So yeah, I think Liverpool surely win easily, and probably a clean sheet. So there's just points to be had from Liverpool here, surely.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, I was surprised and probably naively to see that Salah's only blanked twice this season. I think because he's been out with COVID, it sort of made me not really appreciate how consistent he's been. In his last 4 away games, scores of 2, 7, 9 and 6. So no double figures, but I'm sure against Fulham he's going to have a good chance to do that. 31% owned, so still like not even one of the highest premiums. If you think Bruno's higher than him, you've got Kane and Son both higher than him. He's still a little way down there. He actually doesn't make in top 20 players of shots in the box per 90 minutes in the last 4 game weeks. So that takes into account the game he's missed and sort of averages it out. So yeah, he's been a bit quieter, but I'm quite confident this week he's going to be brought in for me and just sling the armband on him and just watch him go free.
Yeah, it strikes me of a Bournemouth away in the last couple of seasons where he gets a hat trick and it just he's going to rocket you up the ranks if you put the captain on. It might even be a triple captain fixture for him, possibly. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but Fulham's XGC is dead last right now, so 8.76 with 7 conceded, but they have kept a few teams sort of decent, I guess. So Fulham side, there's no one really to mention that we haven't already, like Lookman, who's looked decent. Cavaliero, 5.3 million on penalties. Yeah, but you're not really going to pick him.
No.
Anguissa, 4.5 million, probably is the best value cheap mid in the game, actually. Does seem to be nailed on. I think he missed 1 game on the season, but he's had 2 assists across the season, which is the best returns from all the 4.5s. I think a couple of them had a goal each, but he's had multiple returns and 2 assists. So, he looks like the best value cheap midfielder. But that's really the only pick you can go for in Fulham right now.
Fair enough. All right, Arsenal against Burnley. Is coming up also on Sunday. Battle of the 2 sort of bottom half teams here in this one. I haven't really got a lot to get excited about on the Burnley side of things. They're second bottom for XG in the last 4, and they're only better than Newcastle, who obviously played a game less. So really not tearing up any trees on the attacking side, and not particularly good defensively either at the moment. 4 big chances conceded against Everton, 2 against City, and 2 against Palace. So their reliable backline is looking a little bit vulnerable. Games against Arsenal, Aston Villa, who are obviously quite prolific, Wolves and Leeds in their next 4. Nothing really there, which makes me think I want any Burnley players, sadly.
Yeah, let's just say I'm going to be watching the NFL at this point, or I'm going to be putting Elf on or Home Alone, because Arsenal Burnley just sounds so boring. Aubameyang. I mean, we mention it each week how bad he's been, and he's continuing to be awful. 9.6% owned. Like, what are these people doing? They must be dead teams, right? So 1 goal from open play all season, 3 returns in 11 weeks. I think one of them was an assist. 90 minutes in every game by about 4 minutes, and yeah, shocking, absolutely shocking. The defense has actually looked okay. I mean, sixth highest scoring defender at the moment is Gabriel at 5.1 million of 46 points. 90 minutes in every game bar one, 3 clean sheets across the season, which isn't too bad for Arsenal. 2 goals. I don't actually think he's the worst idea to pick up, because I was looking at Dyer, maybe Gabriel as someone like, he's 11.7% owned, which is kind of high actually, but they have a good fixture swing. Burnley, Southampton, Everton, Chelsea, but then they got Brighton. I think, what else have they got? I think it looks good past that as well. If I just get it up a second.
Why is Kane trying to injure Gabriel with this? Well, it's back in Enquiries.
Oh, it's idiotic.
It's dangerous.
So yeah, past Chelsea, Brighton, West Brom, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Southampton again. Yeah, those are good fixtures. So I think it's 2 traditional top 6 until Saturday the 13th of February. So yeah, good fixtures for the defence, and they have been more defensively minded, because Arteta doesn't seem to know how to attack. So there you go. Holding, I guess, maybe an option with Luis out for maybe a while. We don't know how bad his sort of head injury was with Jimenez, but yeah, Gabriel 5.1, Luis, Bellerin looks okay attacking wise, awful defender, but yeah, there's potential in that defense, and I know I mentioned it to you the other day, and you were just like, you must be mad, but
yeah, I did say that.
I don't think I am mad. I don't think I am.
What about Dyer though? He's 0.1 cheaper than Gabriel. He's like 7% less owned, or owned by 7% less people, and he's playing a really good defensive side. Maybe Arsenal quite good too.
I'm buying Gabriel.
Oh, okay. He's good.
He's just an option.
Okay.
He's got goal threat as well.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Last game of the game week. Leicester host Brighton, which I'm hoping is going to be another one for Vardy to excel in. Although he did leave it a bit late against Sheffield United, and it came from a mistake. So he's been good because he's returned twice, but generally he's been quite underwhelming in these 2 games against Fulham and Sheffield United. Like, I'm thankful I've got points because he's now done more than Wilson would have in that time, so that's sort of okay. But yeah, generally,
you've been expecting hauls.
Yeah, I was expecting more points, if I'm honest. But maybe I can't get too greedy. Let's see what he does in Brighton, because it's the last of the 3 good fixtures. I was sort of thinking he looked worth having for us. Anyway,
shall I mention him while you're talking about him?
Just
quickly. Because I've got the stats on him. So 4, 2, 5 and 8 last 4 weeks, and many actually sold to get him from Kane, who's actually had 9, 4, 2 and 12. So that's 19 versus 27, which is a loss of 8 points in that time, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But Vardy, most Premier League goals since the start of last season. Vardy top with 32, and seems to come up clutch in the last minutes of every game. That's happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
His actual stats are good, which often doesn't really align with what Vardy's good at. So XG of 2.96 was the first of all strikers, an XA of 0.86, 10 shots, 4 big chances, 3 key passes. So that's decent. I think he's certainly worth keeping. Now, obviously, people are looking to get rid of him, to get Salah in and stuff like that. But I think he's worth keeping this week because it feels like the fixture that you get rid of him, he could haul, and Brighton are there for a spanking at some point soon.
Definitely. And I kind of think also after this, Everton, you know how woeful they are. I think that's going to be quite an open game and opportunity for him.
Yeah,
so it's
true.
Maybe really only the Tottenham and Man United games, 2 of the next 5, where I'm a bit worried about him. But he's a strange one, him or Kane. Who would you pick out of those 2? The money's, or the price is quite similar. It's only 0.6 different.
What, considering fixtures?
No, just considering anything.
Well, Kane, surely.
Okay. So you were quite straight with that answer. Why so easy over on him?
I mean, Kane has looked less good, hasn't he, at least recently? So, I don't know. I suppose it's quite tight. I mean, maybe just a slightly better attacking team and better team in general, players around Kane. Yeah.
I know, it's close, isn't it? I've been trying to think about which one to get rid of to bolster midfield, because I'm going to need... I think I'm going to want to switch to 3 premiums in midfield with Fernandes, Salah and maybe KDB at some point, or at least 2 of them. And it means sacrificing one of them, but I kind of put them both at the same sort of level. But at the same time, I think it's a lot easier to captain a midfielder than it is either of those two, which makes me think they don't justify their price point. But no, I think it's a really interesting one. And I don't quite
tough.
don't quite know how to go with it. Anyway, on the Brighton side of things, 1.88 expected goals conceded on average in the last 2 away games is not great. So I do think they probably can ship 1 or 2 goals in this Leicester game. 5th worst record overall. Just 1 clean sheet on the road this season was against Newcastle in Gameweek 2. Welbeck we got to mention because he was the Cougar pick for me last week. Clutch assist. Again, something he didn't know absolutely anything about. He's just won a penalty and got a cheeky assist. He didn't even know the ball had been handballed. But anyway, 3 returns in the last 4 starts. 9, 5 and 5 in that time. Handy price of 5.5 million too, while they have good fixtures and he's likely to play. However, I mean, his highest returns in also a goal tally in the Premier League season is just 9. So yeah, don't expect him to pull up any trees. But yeah, fixtures for him: Leicester, Fulham, Sheffield United, West Ham. So they're okay still, and I don't mind Welbeck at all.
Can I just mention Ryan? Is obviously you mentioned just the 1 clean sheet. Well, how many clean sheets do they actually have? 1. They've had 2 all season, and Ryan just seems to be. They look like they might have a decent defence. He just seems to always concede, and he seems to not get any saves either. So he just seems to be an awful 4.5 million keeper pick this year.
He's actually gone down now as well. People are fed up with him. 4.4 million.
Yeah. He's only got 1 extra save point once this season.
That's bad.
So there's your difference. Like compared to a McCarthy or Meslier or a Johnston, he's got 1 extra save point.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, their defense is good, and they keep possession, so they don't give up many chances, but they usually give up big ones that people take and ruin it for him.
And just quickly on Justin, Sionchu and Pereira seem to have had issues again, so I think he's nailed on for at least maybe 1, maybe 2 more weeks. Who knows? But yeah. The last 2 fixtures have been Fulham and Sheffield United, and I expected 12 points minimum from him, and he's got 3 points in those 2 games. So awful, just shocking. I'm just so annoyed that and I probably have to play him this week, and he's probably going to concede. So great.
Fair enough. Right, I think that wraps it up, doesn't it, for this game week? Let's just go over it quite quickly before we finish. Captaincy this week probably quite firmly on Salah.
Yeah, there's no one else for me.
No one else. And transfer this week? We've got any clear after doing the show?
Yeah, like I said, possibly Teller's out. I think it will be a Teller's out because I can't see United getting a clean sheet. Maybe they will because you don't really know how that game will go. And I don't even know if he's going to be dropped. So Teller's maybe somewhere, and then maybe a DCL to a Bamford and a Teller's to a Trent is interesting to me. But I'm not sure I like the 3 6 million forwards. I think that's a bit awkward. But yeah, Teller's Dyer seems quite good, or maybe even regular on if I can afford it, which I think I can.
Yeah, Teller's Dyer would give you a little bit of cash in the bank as well.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll leave it there for tonight. Now, next game week, obviously this game week finishes Sunday, and the next one starts Tuesday. So we'll try and do a show because we're into December now, Kieran. They love having the games come around quite quick. So we'll try and do a short preview, maybe a live show or something next Monday evening. But we'll update you on YouTube and what we're planning. So yeah, until next time, have a good game week. And any questions, just pop them in the comments below.
Cheers, everyone. Good luck.
Bye bye.